Relax, sir. And good afternoon and welcome to Referees Corner. I'm here joined today by the chairman of the Bermuda Referees Association's referees.
Chairman of the Football
Association Referees Committee. That's
Yes.
Mr. Princeton Williams.
That's me.
Well, Mr. Williams, we're going to start the 2017-18 season off talking about refereeing. And I wanted to talk to the chairman of the referees from the association side just to get an idea of what's been done over the summer months in preparation for the upcoming season, and then we'll get into the other particulars. But what has the association been looking to do to prepare for this upcoming season?
Okay, in July, from July 4th to the 31st, we actually had a FIFA fitness instructor come to Bermuda for the entire month. Her name is Ms. Kalisha Antoine. Hails from the island of Antigua. She came and she did some very intense training of all referees. In particular, Mr. Antoine Augustus, Amari Majors, Tashawn Simons, Mateo Donovan, those are the four. As they're highlighted as being prospective FIFA referees. I'm sure you're already aware Tashawn Antoine did go to the under-15 championships in Bradenton, Florida, where they performed very well. But she came and it was open to all referees. A lot of the referees, I guess you would say, were in, for lack of better words, the off season. So time wasn't exactly perfect, but I would say up to about 10 referees took advantage of it, as Miss Antoine's schedule was very flexible. She worked sometimes on a Sunday, sometimes Saturday. Anytime they wanted to, she was here. After that, we have just recently concluded our course, which was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, up at the Cedar Bridge meeting room. We had junior referees in conjunction with our senior referees. That was under the guidance of Mr. Anthony Francis, Mr. Lynn McGrain, and also Mr. Martin White. And based on that turnout, we had, I think, 26 people came out. About 6 of them new senior officials, and we have about 10 new junior referees, which is very, very encouraging.
Well, there's been no secret. You and I have had discussions, and then of late, other media have joined in on the plight of referees, meaning the low numbers, and we're in a state right now where some decisions have to be made as far as matches, game days, and so forth. But let's reiterate what the need is, and what the wish is, and what the actual numbers are.
My wish list would be to have 30 qualified senior officials. That will mean that every match that's scheduled for a Sunday, because normally we have 10 games on a Sunday, you need 3 officials, 1 referee, 2 ARs. So my wish list would be to have 30 trained, fully qualified persons. Do I have that? I'm optimistic I can get there one day. Yes, I am. As I said, at present we have about 26 officials signed up. Some are injured, some can do every week. So it's rather a tedious process. A lot of times what will happen in the schedule this year, luckily for us, is that you have some teams that have a first division team and a premier division team at our venue.
Right.
So that will ease us up a little bit. And also the competition committee, we met with them. They have now scheduled some matches on Saturday afternoons, which will also ease up the officials. So I'm sure you can understand you have PDL matches 4 days a week. You have a Friday night match, you have a Saturday match, and then you have a Sunday. Some referees have to double up. That will lead to injury. And while yes, people are compensated for the time, we have to look out for their health and safety first. That's paramount.
Right. There's always a lot of talk about the fitness of referees. Last year, you guys implemented regular meetings on Mondays that included training. Can we see that continuing on this season as well?
Yes, every Monday. As a matter of fact, actually, we field now training, the ones that have showed up. It's from 6 o'clock until 7:30. Referees have agreed to meet. They will do classroom sessions as well as they will do fitness on the field. Ideally, we would like to have twice a week, but of course, with the demands of the game, it becomes rather difficult. But we're trying our best with the instructors to work around this footballing schedule to make sure that everyone gets the fitness component.
If we all had a glass bowl, a perfect world, your 30 would be 50 officials, so it gives people time to have off. What do you think is the one of the major contributing factors why you can't get to that 30 right now?
The main
One of the main contributors.
major factor is the abuse from the fans, and secondly, I would say the lack of knowledge of persons about the law changes.
Mhm.
Ideally, what I would like to see happen, Mr. B, is since we have this show on a weekly basis, would be to throw out a trivia question to our viewers for them to answer.
Okay.
And then hopefully them getting it correct will increase their knowledge of the laws of the game.
Okay.
But that seems to be the issue.
All right. So we can look to start that, and the email address would be. They can send it to me, and I can forward it on to you.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll use the BFA site.
Yeah, one or the other. Earl at islandstats.com or Bermuda Footballs. Yeah.
I'll get the email address.
Okay, and I'll put it up,
Yes.
and we'll be sure to do that. But when you start talking about, because we've already had 3 match days thus far this season. We had the Charity Cup,
Yes.
and we've had 2 days of Dardiv.
Yes.
What you're talking about as far as fans' lack of knowledge of the game and the abuse, I think it's going to cross tolerable already. You've been on the sideline, I've been on the sideline. Some of the things that are being said, I don't know if I would be able to myself personally ignore it, because eventually we're all human. Things get under your skin. You don't know what type of day that person's had. You don't know what that person's going through outside of the game, but they're coming to help the game. And of course, now you got people on the sideline. Personally, and it's gotta somewhere, somehow, some way, it's gotta stop. I don't want to hear people talk no nonsense about if you go England or if you go this place, you hear the same thing. We're Bermuda. Let's be different.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And my other fear, well, not fear, my other concern is the fact that right now we do have some youngsters that are between the age of, say, 17 to 23,
right,
who are starting to do Premiership and First Division matches. So we have to slowly integrate them into the game. I don't need someone to go and discourage them,
right,
because everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Any professional game, everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
So our goal is to gradually bring them through slowly, but we need fan support to say, hey, you know what, youngster, you're 17 years old, you're doing a Premiership match, let's encourage you.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will get other youngsters come out as well.
right.
But I'd like to make an appeal to have more females.
Okay.
We need more females, please.
Right.
If you're between the ages of, 18 to 35, please come to the BFA and sign up. Please.
Yeah. Now let's go back a little bit before we get into the season and what the referee shortage and all that stuff's going to end up happening. But it's no secret, it was a few months. Well, where are we now? In the 9th month. We're end of last year. A huge person in his organization, Mr. Gregory Grimes, passed away. His goal and vision was one that you've now picked up and carried and run with, and try to do as much as you can to have 2 young men placed on the FIFA list. But prior to that, when you came on board, what were some of the things Mr. Grimes would be talking to you about as far as referee committee and what he was trying to accomplish whilst he was in those positions?
Well, basically, let me just continue Mr. Grimes' work. He always said, yes, we had the potential to get people on the FIFA list, but as he stated earlier, the biggest thing is that it's commitment. It's no secret, most of our referees we have in our pool are over 40. In terms of trying to aspire to go on the FIFA list, that's not their vision. And we do have youngsters that can achieve that goal,
right,
who are working steadfastly to get there. His other goal is also to increase the referee's knowledge of the game, because every year FIFA sends out laws. It's a book and it's something you have to read. Most people don't like to read,
right,
so it's a challenge trying to get there and say, okay, you know what, here's this book. We need you to go over this and make sure you understand. What I like now what FIFA has done is that they now give you video clips of different scenarios where you have to look at it and decide, okay, is it a foul? Is that not a foul? Is it a red card, a yellow card? Was it offside, not offside? And they show you from years gone by up to now, which helps our referees. Because a lot of people are more visual, and that's what they need. They need game day scenarios.
Right.
So our instructors are working very hard with the FIFA instructors to use that more instead of just giving a book. There you go, all you do read this.
Right.
Also, Mr. Grimes' goal is also, yes, he want our referees in tip-top shape. He believed in it. And he believed that we are the gamekeepers of the game, and they need to respect the game. He was all for that.
Right.
And he was also somebody that said basically if you know the rules of the game, you keep up with play, then when someone questions you, you can answer them. It makes your game run very, very smooth.
Right. Yeah.
That's what he believed.
Yeah. From the old school, because he came through an era where you had referees who were always in control of their match. Even spectators wouldn't cross the line, and they couldn't be given a card, but they wouldn't cross the line if the likes of Pee Wee Cropper, Charlie Marshall, and Gilbert and the likes. They knew how far they can go, and they would never ever cross that line. And the players knew it as well. So, but when we start looking at the scenarios that we have now, with so many distractions, and I'll call them distractions because back in the day, there weren't as many things outside of football and cricket to do. Now we have so many other things that people can get involved in, and not everybody's going to be a footballer. So, but you have a lot of kids that love the game. How are you guys working on youth referees, and what are you doing to get those guys already that you have on board and try to attract some more?
Well, like, as I said, we recently had a course, and I'm pretty sure we managed to recruit about another 10.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my only female referee going overseas to school, to college.
Right.
And now I recruited another one who plays in the 15 team.
Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation with her. She returned from St. Lucia, and luckily she agreed and she came to the course and just quite excited, ready to start. Basically, we just told them that this is what we'd like you to do. We've taken them as young as 13, where they can do under 7, under 9 games.
Right.
Trying not to put them too close to the age group. But with that being said, other issues that we need the parents, I'm going to say it again, we need the parents, the fans, and the coaches to respect our young people. If they make a decision on a Saturday, it's their decision.
Right.
While it may not be the decision you want, it's their decision.
Right.
I lost 5 or 6 youth referees last year from abuse. Fans, coaches saying, oh, you don't know what you're doing, so of course they've left.
Right.
So our goal this year is to protect them. We're having zero tolerance. Anybody that decides to abuse referees will get sanctioned. That's the BFA and the BFA Referees Committee and the Youth Committee stance. Because we understand they're giving up of their time to come to officiate, because these other coaches have been saying they would like to have youth referees so they can just sit on the side and coach.
Right. Right. Which kind of makes sense. And if you're getting the help, don't mistreat the help. Yeah. Yeah. You've had Kalisha here, and you've watched a lot of the training sessions and the 5 games you've seen. What would your evaluation of the officials be over those 5 games?
I would say that the officials have performed exceptionally well. In particular, my 2 youngsters, I have to single them out, Amari and Mateo. Deshaun and Antoine, I don't need to include them in this because they just came from Orlando, as I stated, where they were put through the paces with CONCACAF and FIFA instructors. They had assessors. Every match they did had to be assessed. They gave them reports. So their conduct out of also the referees, Mr. Francis, Mr. Wire, Anthony Daly, yes, and Garrick Swenson, they performed well.
With Kalisha, you were taught some other things, and obviously you watched some of the things that she was teaching the referee assistants, flag in hand, when running down the line and so forth. Will there be, I want to say not inconsistent, but will there be an adjustment when the people that didn't take advantage for whatever reason of the referee's course available that would have picked up on those tips, will they be at a disadvantage? Not saying that the game's going to be diminished, but will they be at a disadvantage as far as getting that extra help?
No, because our fitness instructor as well as our technical instructor, Linda Lane and Anthony Francis, actually attended some of the sessions. So now we've charged them with continuing that work on Monday evenings. And more than likely, there's a tutorial course going on. We're trying to see if we can get our instructors out to the course, or if not, the association, which falls under my leadership, will have to get the instructors again to come to Bermuda and try and have another course. As I said, when Miss Antoine came, it was during, quote unquote, the referee's off season, which is the month of July.
Right.
And normally, no football doesn't really take place. But things are changing worldwide, so we just have to adapt to what's going on.
Mm-hmm. When we look at the overall picture of refereeing of matches and you've already stated that games and let's just be clear, there will be Premier Division games and First Division games on Saturday afternoons.
Yes,
because that's already been in the schedule. The schedule's been released.
That's correct.
Has there been any thing come back to the association from clubs asking why and with referees that you know of?
To my knowledge, no, I cannot answer that, but I do know that was put in the schedule. One, yes, I know primarily to alleviate the situation of referees, because every Sunday you ask to find 30 people, you don't have 30 people.
Right.
And to ask someone every Sunday to do 2 matches, and then to say you might have a match on a Friday, we do 2 or 3 matches during the week, that does become taxing on someone's body and also their brain.
Right.
And that's when calls get made out of people being tired or loss of focus or concentration, even the air on the line because they're tired.
Right.
So we have to take all that into consideration. When we met with the competitions committee, we made it crystal clear that it might be some games, could be PDL, and it possibly could be First Division. We might just have a referee and the club that provide made up. That that's right now.
Right.
So until we have more people willing to step up and pick up a flag or a whistle, that's the situation we're at.
Well, I remember a number of years ago we had a crisis where it was clubs were asked to send, not asked, told they needed to send one person from their club to be trained, basic training, because they're going to have to step in if there's not an official for the match. We've reached this again.
Yes.
I honestly think that it should be a mandatory thing, and even if we get 30. Because something can happen to one of those officials, but you need somebody who has a basic knowledge of the rules.
I agree. Then the other thing that comes is that a lot of people that are sent by the clubs don't want to do games at the club.
Well, that's the point I'm making.
Right.
That's the point I'm making. At least you have a start.
Yes, we have to start.
Right.
But it also sometimes brings a situation where some people say that the person who's AR for the club, quote unquote, the cheat.
Right. Well,
so that's the other thing that comes into play.
Well, I challenge the person that says that the person is cheating. You become official, and then the numbers will raise, and you won't need that person that you're co-cheating.
But that's just how it is. But I mean, ideally, the Premiership matches, we don't use club ARs.
Right.
Because there's more at stake.
When matches started at 3, the First Division games finish at what, 2:30 or 2:25 in that region. When the schedule was being done, obviously you have 2 fields with double headers, that being St. David's and Police Field.
3, Devonshire Rec.
And Devonshire Rec, 3 with, but you also have, you can call it a double header in the East End where Crossroads will play at home and either Hamilton Parish or St. George's will be at home. So that's another helping in some regard, but you're asking people to double up.
Yes.
So was when they were doing the schedule, did they take that into account to make sure that they could have people in that area that could cover?
I'm pretty sure they did. The days that it doesn't work, I've already met with the competition chairman and we discussed it as to how we're going to try our best to make it work. Some matches might have to start late, as what happened last year. And ideally for the referees, it's not a good thing, but you leave from one game, you get to another game, and then because referees tend to want to warm up together, have their pre-match talk, discuss what they're going to do or not do. But for somebody just to show up, get off their bike or get out of their car, run into the field, 5 minutes, and the referee blows the whistle, is not an ideal situation.
Right.
It's really not. But that's where we're at right now. So hopefully, with my appeal again, I'm going to make the same appeal at the Congress, that we can get more persons from clubs to come out and volunteer to be referees. You do get paid.
So it's not volunteer.
Not volunteer. You do get compensated. I'm sorry.
Right.
So please come out. Right. It's a sport where, especially if you're young, like I said, to the age of 18 to 35, and depending on how serious you take it, you can go on a FIFA list where they're saying you can travel the world for free. You get put up in the best hotels, you get paid, and as I said, you can just travel the world for free. You could probably even fish it at the World Cup before one of our teams get there.
Well, it's an incentive. It's definitely an incentive to move forward. But obviously, first you want to accomplish your feat at home. You want to make sure that you're comfortable in understanding the rules, fitness is up, and that's how you get recognized.
I agree.
When you have put in a group of what you consider referee assessors
Mhm.
as well. How many assessors do we have?
At present, we have four.
Four assessors. So, and what are some of the things technically they're looking for when assessing the official, the referee, and the two ARs?
For the referee, they're looking at the management of the game, the positioning skills. For the ARs, they're looking for the flag techniques. Are they keeping up with play? Are they handling the errors correctly? Do they assist the referee with calls that they can't see? And all that position as well.
Okay. Now, one of the things I noticed when Felicia was here, she was making sure that the no matter where the ball was, the referee had sight of at least one AR.
Yes.
When you start watching games, are you yourself looking
Looking
for?
for the exact same thing.
Okay.
Because they, as a team, they need to communicate. That's one
Right.
thing I like about my senior instructors. When they have matches, they have the team talk and they'll say, okay, right, anything from this area to this area, that's you as AR. Anything from this area to this area, that's you. So they communicate, and that's one thing I like that they're doing now, more so than ever.
Right. Right. Now we know some facilities are better than others for pre-match preparation, especially for officials. Any talk with clubs about their facilities, their changing facilities, and security. When I say security, I mean security of personal items of the officials, and then security out to matches and back from matches.
Well, there's right now all the club fields are being, they have to be, I guess you'd say, inspected, and that's taking place during this week and next week. And in terms of, they have to have change rooms for the referees.
Okay.
That's standard. And all clubs are supposed to provide security for the referees.
Okay.
That's standard as well.
Okay. When are we? What would be the protocol if that falls short? One, just the no security.
The referees are told, and they have been advised to inform the clubs, the referee can refuse to officiate a match if he or she feels there's not adequate security. And all clubs, they are made well aware of this.
Right. What and then what is the association's, I guess, result of the match? Will it be replayed? Will it be because ultimately it's the home teams.
It's their responsibility.
Right.
Yes, so they have to provide security.
Right.
I'm sure nobody wants to abandon the match because of lack of security.
Right.
So most times not, the club do find someone, persons to assist.
Right. Right. Which is not always the.
It's not always security that you would like.
Right.
Normally it's a club volunteer.
Yeah.
That's correct. But at the same time, it is, ideally we like to have proper security.
Right.
And, for certain matches, higher risk matches, you have police and regular security guards. Clubs understand that's what they have to do.
Right. Right. How do we get to that? How do we get to the point where security is a necessity at football?
It's the change in society. Things have just changed. It's everything that's going on in society, and
Filters into
it's
sport.
filtered into sports.
Yeah.
So,
But you know what the funny thing, and really not funny, but you know what the thing is, football gets the short end of the stick because everybody says, oh, football, football, football. But this is not just a football issue, is it?
no, it's a whole community issue.
Right.
Football just happens to be what most people like to do, so therefore we get the black eye. When realistically, most of the things that happen has nothing to do with football, but just because Johnny plays football, Johnny's name gets blasted all over the place.
Right.
So,
yeah. Back to the games this year. We have another host of matches, doubleheader on Sunday at Police Field, and then the following week it's into league football.
yes, it is.
The challenge, well, you have a Friday night match schedule,
And
doubleheader
then you have 8 matches on Sunday.
on Sunday. Yeah. When years. Well, I want to compare it to what we see in the professional world. Clubs know who their officials will be on the Thursday. Can we see that in the very near future? Who the officials will be in a particular match in advance?
That's a possibility, but the only issue is just like doing the regular football schedule. A lot of times when the referees committee sits down and does the schedule, um, someone will come back and say, I can't make this because
Subject to change.
Or also a lot of our officials actually are police officers, so it depends on the work schedule.
Right, right.
But normally, yes, we do try to put the schedule at least a minimum 2 weeks in advance, so the officials know exactly what's going on,
Right.
and then it's sent up.
Okay. Sent out to the officials themselves.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because I mean, if we want the game to go to another level, I know there's plenty of guys within the media that constantly say it's nice to know if so and so if Cranston's on 2 yellow cards and can't play this game, because it all works for your preview and your game thought process and so forth, and break that down, and then you got, okay, it'll be Earl based and refereeing this particular game today. You know,
that's a request that we would like, that I'm pretty sure I can ask Candy to send it out. I don't think that'd be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, not looking for it that much in advance. It could be out on the Thursday. Who's in the middle of the games, because primarily that doesn't change unless, like you say, a police officer getting called or somebody. Right.
Yes.
But primarily you will get those people on that Sunday doing the matches that come out on the Thursday. So, I think just adds to the flavor of making the game look a little more professional. Whether or not it is professional on the field, yeah. But all in all, what was the course like over the last 3 days, and what was some of the talk amongst the participants as far as what they're hoping and looking forward to for the upcoming season?
Well, I would say over the 3 days it was it was interactive. Mr. Francis yesterday ran over flag techniques with mainly the junior referees and the senior ones that did come. On Saturday, Friday and Saturday, Lyndon ran over the law changes. And the hot topic basically was the offside, which is always an issue. Offside and then what is deemed a foul or not a foul.
Right.
So it was very lively debate amongst the referees. It was fun to sit there and just listen to the debate, because normally referees don't get a chance to get together at the time.
Right.
So it was very nice to see. Remind me of what took place in April at the course when they had the FIFA technical instructor, Victor. He was very good at, and the way his delivery and his approach, I commended him after, and I said, I think it's Victor Stewart, yes. I said to him, we've done 3 courses before, we've hosted 3 courses, and this is probably the most interactive course we had, because it wasn't just somebody standing a lecture. He was able to put everything into a game scenario to make it come across a lot easier, which is what Mr. Rana and Mr. Wire were trying to replicate.
Right.
As of anything, we had youngsters, some of these boys are school age youth referees. So for them on the Friday, they were basically learning about the laws of the game, but it was more in book form. So they were a little bit anti and edgy. So we decided, okay, let's switch this up. So on Saturday when they came down to the BFA office, and Mr. Wire had them doing interactive video lessons on the overhead projector, which worked out perfect. And they thoroughly enjoyed it. Then it was like he gave them a quiz afterwards to say, okay, what do you need to officiate? How many players on the field? Just different things, and they were answering, and they were very, very engaged.
Right.
And they would tell you, like, you show them a clip, offside, not offside. They have to raise their hand, not raise their hand. Yellow card, not yellow card. They put up the hand. So it was very interactive.
But okay, and I often have this debate with just general people, but sometimes people ask a question that makes a lot of sense. What you perceive as a foul might not be what I perceive as a foul if we're standing in 2 different areas, 2 different spaces.
That's why positioning is key.
Right. But I could be in a position that I think is the best for the particular scenario, and you might look at it in a different way.
Well, that's what they say. Also, in terms of the laws of the game, it's up to the referee's interpretation.
Right.
They say that.
Right.
And that's one of the things Lyndon Rayner and Martin stressed to the referees, was that they have to be consistent. And that's also another reason why having the Monday training for them to go and understand. Like a scenario of where 2 players were fighting on the field, and there's different debates as to whether 2 players from the same team fighting, should they get a red card or not. Some people saying, well, they're on the same team, they should. But the law says the fighting
you must be
expelled.
It doesn't say to opposite opponents.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like on Saturday, Liverpool, everybody should know is my team. Liverpool with Sadio Mane. He went in, he wasn't attempting to injure the goalkeeper, but his foot was high, it was considered violent conduct. He had to get a red.
Okay.
Different people interpret different ways.
Let me ask you this question because I just saw that today talking with a colleague of mine, because I didn't know all that happened. But if that was a tackle in the middle of the field, would the same result have been given?
It's considered violent conduct.
We know that.
It's considered violent conduct as violent conduct.
We know that, but I'm asking.
And I'm saying violent conduct on the field, no matter where it takes place,
Okay.
is considered violent conduct.
So we should see, no matter what part of the field, violent conduct should be taken care of in that manner. Red card.
Violent conduct, yes. The law states if you get violent, excessive force, then you're supposed to be given a red.
Okay.
That's according to the laws of the game.
But we know in the practical world that a foul in the middle of the field is more ignored by the same foul made in the third of another team's. Am I right? Because I'm saying that and you're grinning because
I'm not going to answer that because that's what I said.
But we've seen.
Yes, we have seen it.
Yeah.
We have seen it, yes. And as I stated earlier, it's up to the referee's interpretation.
Right.
Because one referee might say yes, another referee say no.
And that's the point I'm making with the challenge.
Yes.
If it would have been in the middle of the field with two outfield players.
Okay, but he went for it. Well, I should say went, but the foot was high and was aimed at his head.
Now, do you think he intentionally done it?
As I said, I'm a Liverpool supporter.
I
do not think he intentionally did it.
Right.
But at the same time, I have to realize from starting laws of the game, it was considered violent conduct.
Yes. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you.
So for me, if it was like you're saying, say it was on the halfway line, a defender's getting into challenge, but the head down had a ball, and he came in again with his feet that high and to the head, that's deemed violent conduct.
Okay. But we've seen cards given just outside the box for a same foul that's made on the halfway line and it's just play on.
Yes, and as I said, it's up to the referee's interpretation.
Right. Okay.
But like you said, some referees might say, okay, you know what? This is in the middle of the field was a chance to play on, but in terms of being outside the box with opportunity to score, it could be also deemed as you're denying someone goes for an opportunity, just a whole pile of things they look at.
But it comes down to interpretation
and consistency.
Well, that's what that where it was coming. That where
interpretation
because if I'm gonna get a yellow card, if I'm gonna give a yellow card down outside the box, I gotta give a yellow card.
And that's what the instructor has been stressing to the referees. All of it. You have to be consistent. One person cannot call it this Sunday this way, and somebody else comes call it different way for it.
Right. And you're never gonna have 100% because you look at it, you view something one way, and I view something another. Now, there could be other scenarios that contribute to the tackle.
Right.
The player feels as if he was fouled, but it wasn't called. So 9 times out of 10, his retaliation is chase that ball down. He was out in my way, getting it.
Yep.
So instantly, you want to stamp that out. Yellow card.
That's right also the referee's management of the game comes into play. Because I'm sure as a referee, as they say, you should be able to keep a gauge on the temperature of the game.
Right.
You can see when things are starting to boil or escalate, and the referee needs to take charge. And also his team needs to be able to say, that's why also we use the electronic flags now. We've gotten, for every premiership match, we'll have referees will have access to electronic flags. An AR can see what's going on and buzz the referee. It's like referee has to shout or the AR shouting. They can buzz and put the flag up and look around right away. Okay. Earl's buzzing what's going on back home. You know what I mean? And also what we do for the cup game, we have starting at the quarterfinals, they have the microphones.
Oh, okay.
We would like to have them use it every week, but that's not feasible. So that's another way we're trying to improve also.
Okay. All right. So the cup, the quarterfinals of what, the FA?
And the cup game.
Okay. All right.
So you will see this.
Okay. Another question as far as, because you've made a call out for females.
Yes.
We have our under 17s, our under 20s, just recently done well. But there's no women's program in Bermuda. And could that be a little intimidating for females to be hounded? And when I say hounded, I mean, abused by the males and the spectators behind them. Because if you look at it, places like BAA, St. David's, Um, the fans are right on the
Yes.
AR's back.
Yes, and that's why we say the club needs to control the fans, and also we have match commissioners who record different scenarios such as that, but the referees themselves have been told, and I'll reiterate again, have been told in no uncertain terms, if a referee is in the middle of a match and they feel that a fan or a coach or a player is abusing them that much that they cannot take it, they can call their team to the middle of the field, and they can ask security, whoever's in charge of that game, to have that person removed, and if they don't, then the referee has the right to say they're not officiating anymore. It's just that simple. Is ideally what we would like to happen? No, but a stance has to be taken.
Right.
And we have two females that have been doing games for a while. I would like to recognize, and that's Cassandra Trott and Wendy Woody. We also have Stacey Baird, who is coming out to help us this year. She completed FIFA course last year and this year. We have Dion Lancico, if I'm pronouncing it correct, Dion. We also have Terry Painter, who has played football. She's helping us out also, but she only wants to do the AR. Because she said she enjoys it.
Right.
Now, that's my female that I have.
Right.
Ideally, I'd like to have some younger persons who have played football. I reach out to some ladies that are a member of the senior women's team.
Right.
Because I've explained to them, listen, for me to get into the World Cup in football might not happen overnight.
Right.
However, if you can give me 2 solid years of officiating and get on a FIFA list, then you could travel the world and quite possibly officiate at a CONCACAF under 17 World Cup, FIFA under 20 World Cup. You just don't know where it can take you.
Right.
And we're also trying to arrange a referee exchange program in the USA and Canada.
Oh, okay.
We have their referees come down to us, and we can send referees up to them. But the association will pay your expenses. You can go on a Friday, be there on a Saturday, do your game, come back Sunday. That's what we're looking to try and also improve, the level of officiating on the game.
Right.
Sorry, in Bermuda.
How close are we to something of that nature? Or are we just at the infancy stage?
Well, in the infancy stage, we're discussing it. We've had some dialogue with the persons from the USSF and also from Canada. So it's just a matter of waiting for a meeting has to be held and for the Canadian personnel and then to get back to us. But it should be happening hopefully this season.
Okay. What has been because obviously you have to get permission from Bermuda government, immigration and all that. How are they?
Well, we haven't spoken to the government as yet, but I'm sure we did have a meeting with the officers because I am a second vice president. We had a meeting with the sports minister and the things we threw out to him. He was very, very supportive of us, and he said football is key in Bermuda, and himself as a former footballer, so he's all in favor.
Right, right. Just talking about that, how do you think our officials will stand up to matches in the U.S. and or in Canada?
My personal view, I think they'll do well. I've always said, and I believe that Bermudians, especially our young males, can do anything. It's just a matter of giving them the opportunity and the resources to achieve. Tashawn and Antoine, not to single them out, but they're the last two that have been anywhere. They went last year to the CONCACAF Championships. They officiated, I think it was 3 matches, and they returned. They went again this year, and this year they were put on a semifinal, which was a huge game, USA Panama.
Right.
That's a semifinal. They were with the top referees in all the matches. They were doing Division 2 games, I believe it was. And then Antoine returned home, and Tashawn stayed back, and he did Division 2 final, which was Haiti and Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So for me, considering from last year to this year, there clearly is growth somewhere, and they're showing the rest of the world that yes, we can compete. And I firmly believe that. That's why I'm making that appeal for females, because I've seen some females who are coaches who have had to do games in the middle on a Saturday as youth games, and they have performed quite well.
Right.
They're fit, they keep up with play, they know the laws of the game. So my thing is, why not take it a little bit further? And we did have FIFA personnel come down, and they did say they identified some females, but due to different commitments, they just haven't returned. Okay. So I'm hoping that they watch those interviews and they come back.
Well, Mr. Williams, I do want to thank you, the first Bermuda Referee Corner for 2017-2018, and we look to have you around the Christmas break just to get an assessment on how things are going thus far. But ladies and gentlemen, every Monday right here on islandstats.com, 5:30 till 6:30, we'll be joined by referees, officials from the association, just on putting out the laws of the game, upgrading the game, making the game more attractive for officials. And I do want to thank Mr. Williams for being the first guest for this show. And we'll be back in a week's time for week 2 of the Bermuda Referees Corner. Do have a good evening.
Thank you very much.